I received a phone call from my lawyer, and he said, Mariana, your visa didn't get renewed. You have 30 days to go back to Peru.
Hi, everyone. I'm Claudia.
And I'm Luciana.
And this is Where We Land, a podcast about immigration and multicultural identity.
Today, we spoke with my dear friend, Mariana Vílchez, an actress from Peru who spent some time in LA, has a back and forth journey that's just wild and also more common than you think. So it was so fun to catch up with her. I'm really inspired by her energy. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun,
lots of laughter, lots of catching up, and also just a really interesting story.
So good.
Let's get into it.
Welcome, Mariana. I'm so excited you're here. Obviously, we are longtime friends. We've known each other for, this is going to hurt, over 25 years. We start off our interviews usually with the same questions. Where in the world does your journey start? And what was growing up like for you?
You mean in the acting world, or my journey?
In
life?
She goes straight for the acting
To the
world.
very beginning, before you met Luciana and I.
So, I always think about that, the acting part, because that's where or when I felt this is it. That's what I remember. I was 8 years old. I remember quite clearly, in Trujillo, there is this event, right? The queen of La Primavera, La Reina de la Primavera.
Yeah,
right?
the spring queen.
The spring queen. And there is a little play there that we make, and I was part of it. I remember like it was yesterday, the first time I stood on the stage in that theater, El Teatro Municipal, I didn't want to leave that theater. It was like the best thing in the world. And I told my dad and my mom, I want to be an actress. By that time, I was already dancing marinera. So I've been, dancing forever.
I remember that.
I remember, and, if you ask about my journey, I think that's when it started. What I want, who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do in life. It started there.
So you were born in Trujillo, just like us.
Yes.
Lived there. At 8 years old, you discover acting. You tell your parents that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Later on, we come into the picture. You meet Luciana. You finish high school. And then you don't pursue acting until after college.
But
How did you make that
why?
decision? No, that's what I'm asking. Tell me why.
Because, and I think Luciana knows.
I know.
You know this. I wanted to pursue acting, like right after high school. But my dad, and I wanted to go to New York and LA. I wanted that.
I think if it was up to you, you would have left high school and gone to be an actress.
Yes.
At 8 years old, she's like, I'm gone. Give me
I'm gone.
So I just want to really quickly, core memory that I have of you in that first year of school. So we are in middle school when we meet. And I remember Mariana going up to the board, grabbing a piece of chalk and writing. I don't know why this stuck with me, Mariana. Maybe you've erased this, but Mariana wrote her name, Mariana Vílchez, Oscar winner.
What?
Like manifesting it. Yes. Yes, you did.
And
I was like,
right? Are you serious?
Look at you.
I remember you doing that. And like, people, you know how people would go and draw like a smiley face or like a drawing, Mariana Vílchez, Oscar winner. And I was like, it just kind of on brand.
Wow. Man, thank you for telling me that. I totally forgot about it. That's great, But that's, that's how my mentality was. Since I was a little girl, I wanted to pursue this with all my heart. It was just something, how they say it's a calling to be an artist. That's how I feel and how I felt at that time. So anyways, from Trujillo, we went to Lima to study to the Lima University to study
Yeah.
a career because that's what my dad said. Oh, you want to be an actress? Great. I want you to study a career first. And I'm like, but acting is a career, Dad. No, I want you to go to the university first. Fine. Funny enough, because my dad used to be an actor and a ballet dancer. Did you know that?
I did. I did.
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that.
you know.
Which is to me hilarious because
I
that does
can't
not track for
imagine your
father.
dad as a ballet dancer. Oh my
Can
gosh.
you imagine? Well, can you imagine? And then, so I did that because I didn't have any other option. And I really thought it was a great decision. Going to the university, I met amazing friends. I learned other things. And that's also part of being an artist. You learn from people, from places, from experience.
Right, it was a life experience.
Yes. It helped me mature to grow up a little bit more. So when I finished high school, I will never forget this. I finished high school, university, sorry. And I told my dad, okay, I'm ready. Here's my diploma. I need to go after my dream. I want to be an actress. I want to study this, Dad. But I don't want to be, I want to go to the States. I want to, because I just admire so many actresses from here. And it was just always an idea I had. So I had to do it. And so I did. I applied to study at Stella Adler Academy of Acting, which is like 3 years long. I submitted myself. I got accepted and I went to LA.
Your idea of America, aside from the films, I think you had gone to a couple places, but you hadn't really spent a lot of time, except for when we were 21, you and I together went to the New York Film Academy. I studied directing for film, and you studied acting for film. What were your impressions, culture clash? Like, what did you think about, like, first of all, you're acting 24/7, so I'm sure you're cloud nine.
I was.
But also, like, what are you feeling about being in the U.S. and New York specifically?
Also remember, I went to Kansas City to high school to study there for 3 months as an exchange student.
Oh, you did that.
That was
your
insane.
first experience.
Yes,
Okay.
that was insane because it was exactly like the movies. And I used to date the basketball player, like the popular. I was in a movie. I was in a movie when I was 50 years old. That happened to me. And then I went to New York with you. And I felt in that time, the huge difference was the people, just the people themselves. They were more open-minded than we were. I felt, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but in that time, and I'm talking 20 years ago? Probably.
Yeah, it was an eye-opening experience for me to experience that at 21 and seeing that there's just like all of these different types of life that people are living our age, and that's even an option. So that was eye-opening.
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yes,
kind of?
yes, definitely. And also to learn about other cultures, because here in Peru, I was living my life with Peruvian people, traditional culture, going to New York, meeting people from other parts of the world. It was amazing. It really opens your mind, you're to learn from others, to experience other things, things that you would never do here.
Yeah.
In a way. Right.
And so I'm curious. So then you went back. We finished. Like that was our when we had like one semester to go. We finished, graduated. You tell your dad, "Here's the diploma. I want to go." Why LA and why not New York?
One reason: the weather.
The
weather.
I thought you were going to say Hollywood.
No. For me, it was the weather.
Oh,
the weather. Yes.
I
can't.
understand. I
No.
understand. It takes like a good 3 years to get used to the winters. Like it's not
And
easy.
even that, sometimes people are fleeing the winters.
Yeah,
Like it's
no.
good to get out a couple weeks in the winter. Cause
Yeah.
it's hard. It's a rough
No,
winter.
I wasn't going to do it. I was not going to do it.
When you got to LA, was it seamless integration or were there things you had to get used to?
No, I felt like I was where I was supposed to be when I got to LA.
Nice.
I was
That's awesome.
never afraid. You know, some people are like, oh my gosh, I'm in a new city. Oh my gosh, I miss my family.
I
None of
love
that.
Mariana. Like, people are just.
Oh, I miss my family. She's like, no, they held me back.
No.
They held me back. I got rid of them. We're gone.
Exactly. Listen, that's what I've learned. And I remember the things I used to think in that time. But it is like that. You know, you're never going to have everything. You're always going to be missing something. If you want something, you're going to go for it. And yes, of course, you know, LA is not an easy city. It's either you learn to surf it or you drown in it. It's not easy, but it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous city, and there's so much opportunity there, so many things to do. So I felt like it was my city. When I went there, I started, you know, studying at Stella Adler.
Right. You went as a student. And I mean, you said like, oh my God, I'm home. I've arrived. This is where I'm meant to be. Those were the feelings. But was there anything that was hard, even though like you were happy to be there? Was there anything that was challenging? Was there any culture clashes you're like, what does this mean? What is going on? Something that was like,
or even something just like confusing that you were like, what are these people do? I don't understand how this works.
So, I mean, first of all, yes, I felt happy, you know, this is the place I want to be, but it was so difficult.
right.
You know, to be alone from Peru. English is not my first language, right? And learning about the culture too. You know, where I studied, there was a girl, an American girl, from LA actually, and she wasn't the easiest person ever. Like, she wasn't the easiest person. So, for example, this might sound very silly. So just, you know, if I wanted to wash my clothes, you know, you use quarters. Very, very silly thing, right? Use quarters and, you know, how to use this, just to show me, or I want to learn where to go, because the first place I stayed with, you have roommates there. Right? To live with somebody. I remember the first time I lived with someone, my first roomies were from Mongolia, 2 girls.
Okay. That's another culture.
Another culture. Very, very hard. And they didn't understand when I spoke, first of all.
Okay.
How are you all communicating? You're using English, presumably.
Yeah, so words, signs, they didn't really speak it. Yeah, it was so hard. The food, right?
Yeah.
Different food, different customs. You know, the way that we lived, it's different. So in LA, you have to have roommates. It's impossible to get there and live alone you know, when you're 20.
Yeah, and you were there from your early 20s and then all the way up until your like early 30s.
Yes, 33.
So that's a significant amount of time. I'm sure the person that moved to LA is not the person that came back from LA.
No.
So I would like to know, how did you change? How did it impact you? How did that time shape you?
You know, one of the things I think really made me change is by living in LA and being part of this industry, is that I had to grow thick skin. I don't know if that's how you say it. You know, I have to have thick skin, especially living in LA and being part of the acting, you know, the Hollywood industry. It's really hard, man, because you're always being rejected. As a woman, you're also being depicted. You're all, you know, people are scrutinizing you for everything you do, or you know, how you look, or what you wear, or how you sound. I used to remember, I used to feel so insecure, even though I have worked in my accent for so many years, and I'm still doing it right now. I used to feel so afraid and so nervous and, just negative feelings around this because people can be so mean to you. So you stop doing what you want to do. So you don't achieve or get where you want to get. And so to have thick skin, to learn not to believe anything, not even the good or bad things. That's one of the things I got to learn there is if you do great work or bad work, people will always have opinions about you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, part of this industry and being a Peruvian, woman living in another country, there will always be rejection. It's inherently. It's there, right? But then it's also part of any creative job. So, you can't believe everything they tell you. Not the good, not the bad. You just do what you can. And not what you can. You do your best with yourself.
Do your best, right?
Right? And also, to live in LA, there are some people that are not nice to foreign people, Latin people, right? And so you also encounter these not so nice people, and you have to learn how to deal with them. I used to be, apart from acting and doing theater, I also used to work as a waitress in an Italian restaurant, which was super fun. It was an experience, really. But there you get to meet a lot of people like that.
I'm curious, though, what your parents are saying as you're telling them these difficulties. They know you're far away. It's been 12 years. I know that this is something that like a lot of actors deal with that are like, how long are you going to give it to? How long are you going to be doing this? And I don't know, like, if your response is like, I'm going to be doing this for forever. What types of questions you were hearing from friends back home? Because also the acting industry in Peru is not as evolved as it is in LA. So I just want to, if you could talk to about that a little bit, like what were you hearing and feeling from back home?
So different things, right? From friends and other people. They're not my family. The typical question, right? So have you already done something big? Like always the same question. What have you done? Okay, nothing big. But it was the same question over and over and over, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then from my parents, and then also you feel that judgment because they judge without knowing. They see you struggling and, they see that you haven't been in anything big, right? A studio, big movie. And so I've heard comments like, so why are you still doing that? Like,
right.
Get real. A lot of that. Get real. You're dreaming. Like, what are you doing? Right? You're living off dreams. She's crazy. And then from my parents, yes, there was a time where we had a conversation and they were worried about me because it's part of this business. There's a lot of uncertainty all the time. You never know what's going to be next. Like right now I'm in a play. I don't know if tomorrow I will be, but it's part of it. And you keep at it. You keep working for it. So I had a conversation with my parents about this. And my dad said, are you going to do this forever? Are you ready to live like this forever? And I said 100% yes. Then my parents were, my parents told me, if you've chosen this for your life, I don't want to hear any complaints. You go for it. You keep working, and this is going to be a long, this is going to be a long line, right?
Yeah.
And you go for it.
I want to get into this second part and like kind of like where you are in your life now, because you're in Lima, Peru currently, right?
Yeah.
And your return to Peru wasn't planned. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because it's more common. It's a more common story than you may think.
Yes. So as I told you before, I was living in LA for 12 years. I had an O1 visa, which is a visa for artists, right? That you get every 3 years. You renew that visa and you keep working. I'm a SAC member too. So that was great, which led me to do, bigger commercials, to go for bigger auditions, get better managers. So it was going really good. Slowly, right? But, we were good. So anyways, it got to a point I renewed that visa 3 times. Okay. And then by 2019, just before the pandemic started, I had to renew it one more time in November 2019. And when I went to renew it with a lawyer, because you have to hire a lawyer, it didn't get renewed. And so I remember this, guys, like it was yesterday too. I was coming down the stairs from the gym, LA Fitness, and I received a phone call from my lawyer. I was like, hello. And he said, Mariana, your visa didn't get renewed. You have 30 days to go back to Peru. What? After 12 years?
Oh my gosh.
No. Like, can we do no, we can't.
Wow.
If you want to be, if you want to stay legal, if you want to come back in the future, you have to leave the country for good, in 30 days. My world shifted. I was
30
in shock.
days is
30 days after 12 years.
Yeah.
Right? I had a life. I had an apartment, a car, friends. I was doing a play. It was going good. I was happy.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, let's go. I did so. I came back to Peru. I remember I had my, I put 12 years in 6 bags.
Oh my gosh.
And I came to Peru that December. I was happy to see my family, my friends, but I had so many emotions at that moment. I do remember, and that's one of the things that really I was surprised about myself, because I had in my brain a switch. And I said, let's go. Done. Okay. I leave this here. Next. What am I going to do? Solutions. Right?
Right.
Let's do something else. I didn't cry. I didn't feel sorry. Nothing. I never asked why me, why. No. Stop complaining, Mariana. This is the life I chose. Things happen. Life happens. Right? And I believe life happens for you. So what am I going to do with this? This is something that happened to me, so I learned something. Okay, great. Let's do it. So if I did it in LA alone, in Peru, I have family, I have friends, I'm not going to die. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came here. It was crazy, guys, when I came here, because people are so different.
Oh, yeah.
And
The culture shock finally kicked in.
what the heck? And also, it was so weird. Being an artist, I came here when I was turning 34, early 30s, right? I was an artist. I was a woman artist in my early 30s and single. Being the key word, single.
Yeah, in
what
Peru,
I mean?
that's rough. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So people were always, they were, you know how this society is. It's, I love them, but it's very chauvinistic, correct? And they find it weird. Not
They don't know
people from
what
my
box to
industry.
put you in. Like, what do you mean?
No.
What do you mean? You're single. What do you? And you're not interested in a partner. What do you mean? Because
listen,
Mariana
yeah.
has been very uninterested. Like, you're like, my career first. I've
Yeah, guys
you know.
always come second, third, whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if they come. It's not, but exactly, they don't, they even asked me once, so what, do you like girls? Why, if I don't have a boyfriend, why would I like a girl? They even asked me, can you imagine that they dare to ask me that? And I'm like, hey, not a problem,
It's like
but I don't.
it's like they don't understand. Like, it's really hard for people in Peru to understand that someone would choose to be single at 30 something. They're like, no, but you're 30 something. You're single. What happened?
Yes.
Are you gay? Are you like?
Yes.
Did someone leave you? Did you just leave someone? Like, was it tragic? Are you
well,
hurt?
how
Are
are
you
you-
broken? How are you wrong that
How
you're
are
in
you
your
choosing
30s
this?
and you're not with someone?
Yeah.
They don't get it.
And the single part is one thing. And I really do hope that change is being made, progress is being made among those lines in Peru. But yes, and second, and I think we can get into this too, like how you've also chosen, if you want to talk about this, if not, we'll edit it out, how you've also chosen not to have kids. Because you made that decision very early on as well. I have asked you, we have talked about it, and we've checked in on that. But you've always been a firm no from probably since 8 years old. Like, she was
Forever.
like, I'm going to be an actress and I'm not going to have kids. Probably since I've known Mariana. Like,
Probably 8 years old. The epiphany came
Yes.
together. She was like, "There's two things I know, Dad. I'm not gonna have kids. Gonna be an actress. Let's go."
I think
And
that's
she's
me.
never, and I think that's even harder for people to really digest in Peru, to like say like, oh, you are choosing that? Mind
They
blown,
they cannot believe that a woman makes that decision. They don't want to believe. They feel uncomfortable. They want to find a reason why. There has to be another reason. Why don't you want to have kids? That's weird. No. I'm like, why not? Why do you want me to have kids? You tell me a reason. Because I feel bad for them. It's what's happening here?
Mariana, also, like, I want to touch you briefly said, like, so you moved December 2019 back to Peru, and you've been in Peru since. Months before the pandemic. Peru, for the listener, Peru had a really tough lockdown. Like, it was intense. Peru was very hard hit by COVID. It was real, just real bad. So not only are you moving and experiencing all of these culture clashes, like in Peru, which doesn't really feel like home anymore because LA was so much your home. And then the pandemic hits. How does that also, because actors were really, like, the industry was basically shut down in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
So how are you finding work, finding your, like, community, like your artist community? How did that all shape?
Honestly, it was probably one of the worst times of my life. I did not have a good time at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Because I got here, and the first 3 months, everything was open. It was fine, right? So I started to create contacts, call people for work, introducing myself as an actress. It's all about contacts, right?
Yeah.
But then COVID started and everything shut down. I didn't know a lot of people, and who would hire me in this context if no one knows me, right?
Yeah.
No one knows my work. Yes, I've been living abroad for so many years. So it was a very, very hard time at the beginning, right? And then again, and I say again because I think I'm a very fortunate person to have the parents I have. They give me the tools, they give me the energy, they give me the right speech, in a way, to freaking go for it. to get out of my mind, to get out of my bed and keep at it. Like what the heck, Mariana? I had a conversation. I remember I was back in Lima because I went to Trujillo for a little bit. I came back to Lima, and I was in the car, and my dad was like, I need to talk to you. And he told me, okay, you've had your months, right? You haven't been so good. You've had a little trouble, right? In your life. I wasn't feeling good, right? So, and he said, okay, now it's time to come back. Okay, now it's time to keep going for your dreams. What do you want to do? Make a plan. Okay, life doesn't end. You can start again because you did it in LA without any help. So now you're here. You got your family, you got your friends. Come on, let's do it. And that's what I did. And I started working. Actually, I'm also a dancer. I think I told you, right? And so I started working in Arthur Murray, which is a dance company, ballroom dance. I started working there, teaching dance, which was amazing. And then I started taking classes, acting classes. That's where I met people from the industry. Right. I started auditioning, and then I got a manager. And so I started again, same thing, right? Same thing that I did in LA, I did it here. Right? It's about calling, it's about knocking doors. Some people would answer, some people would never answer. They will leave me in scene forever. But hey, I came back to myself. I've no shame to knock doors. I've no shame to call. Hey, I'm here. I'm Mariana. Hello. I'd like to audition. Done. I started doing that. And little by little, I started working again and auditioning. And yes. And so that's how I came back to the industry.
Today, you are, of course, you're a working actress living in Lima. Yeah. Like you mentioned, I think you're in rehearsals for a play right now?
Yes. We're doing Dracula, The Bloody Truth. It's actually a play in English.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There you go.
Fun. I know. And I've been really wanting to act in English for a long time. And so I'm back at it. It's been really, really fun. Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. But I remember you also told us once that you have representation outside of Peru as well right now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. In the States.
So is the dream to go back still alive? Like, what are your
Claudia,
hopes?
That little 8-year-old girl knew what she wanted. And that's very important, not because it's such a tough journey that sometimes as adults, we forget that childlike state of mind. You forget your little girl. Yeah. And then you start, doing adult things, which is what we have to do. It's fine, right? Valid. But I remember that little girl, her dream, her fire, what she wanted. I had to go back to her to start again. And that dream, it's still here. I'm not going to give up, right? I'm still looking for opportunities. Actually, I'm not saying looking for anymore, because when you look for, you never find it. Some say I'm finding opportunities because,
I love it. It's like the writing on the chalkboard. Like the writing on the chalkboard.
Cool?
Yeah.
But it's just about little words. Girls, we have to manifest. Okay, so that dream is still here. I'm not going to give up. I'm still finding opportunities abroad, in the States. Actually, in this LA trip, I'm planning to talk to some people just to see how's, the context there. And yeah, we'll see, we'll see what happens. I'm open to the universe. I'm here. I'm happy to be living of my dream because I'm a working actress, which I love. And I'm just open for opportunities. I do want to go abroad. That's always been the dream. I would love to go back to LA sometime and, live there again because I love that city. Love that city.
I have a feeling you will. I don't know. I feel
me too. Me
from
too.
now on, like I've known this for forever about you,
Yeah.
but like if anyone ever asks me, like, "Hey, do you know where Leche is? Do you know where Mariana is?" I'm gonna be like, on a stage somewhere. She is on a stage. She's on some stage. That's where she's at.
That's my life.
I'm just gonna picture you there permanently.
Please, dude. I picture myself every morning like that. I keep dreaming and thinking about it. And it's like, it just, like I said, it's a calling. It just calls you. You have to keep dreaming because if we only have one life, if we don't do what we love, then what are we doing?
Oh my gosh, Mariana, this has been so fun. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. We ask a version of this question to everyone who comes on the podcast. And so we're going to ask you, do you feel American, Peruvian, norteña, something else?
So, I'm definitely Peruvian for sure.
Yeah.
And when I'm with my family, my friends, I feel Trujillana. Right?
Right.
I have it in my
Yeah.
blood.
Yes.
I am Trujillana for sure. But I have to say, LA feels like my second home. It has my heart. It gets me. I get it. We get each other. It's just part of me. I feel like, yes, LA is my second home.
You got a lot of love for LA. All right. I love it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. Come to me, LA.
Mariana, this was so fun. Thank you so much for
Yes.
coming.
Guys, thank you for having me.
So, having finished our conversation, how did this one land?
I loved having Mariana here, not only because she's such a good friend of mine, and it's always so good to talk to people that you've known for over 20 years.
Yeah.
But she was just so inspiring. But it always surprises me, like in a just like in the best way, how she talks about acting like she's just discovered yesterday that she wants to be an actress. Like she talks about it with the same energy that she's always had. It's refreshing, it's inspiring, it's a little contagious. It makes me like, gosh, I feel like, wouldn't it be great if everybody felt like that about what they're doing every day? And and she's laid it out like it's not been easy. It is a struggle. It is a constant just hustle, and her work ethic is so good. It's like, she is quite disciplined. I have observed that.
It's very admirable.
Through her whole life, but just her energy, it really is like the energy of a child who just wants to do something fun. And I just love seeing that. And yeah, so it was really nice to hear her, to be reminded of that. So
I think it's true. It's very enviable to see someone so determined and so set in, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And so no matter what comes up, no matter how hard, no matter what obstacles, like I'm steadfast.
Yeah.
That this is it. Like that self-assuredness is so like desirable. It's like, don't we all want that? Like I want that.
Literally, she is that 8-year-old girl all day, every day. That this is what I'm going for. This is what I'm doing here. Like obstacles, get out of my way, because I have tunnel vision in what I'm pursuing.
And I also, there's a part that I really like. I so understood her. I so related to her, which is when she was talking about like the cultural differences she's felt like really starkly when she went back to Peru, and now she's in her mid-30s, and that feedback that she's been getting from people about like being unmarried and not wanting to have children. Yeah. And I particularly resonated with that because I'm also unmarried and I also don't have children.
I did want to ask you about that. Like, I'm like, you must have felt like you've experienced the same thing in Lima.
Yeah. Like in Peru, there have been people that have asked me about it, but obviously the thing isn't that they ask you about it or not. I'm actually okay with people asking whatever they want. That's fine. It's more, I know that some people don't like to be asked, and that's fine too. I'm okay with it, but it's what's very curious to me and very interesting is like the tone with which it's asked, like the underlying implications of what's coming with those questions. Like I've had mom and her close friends, like our aunties, ask a couple of times, and they don't just ask. They like ask, they say like, oh, but wouldn't you want to? Like they don't ask you like, why aren't you married or why don't you have kids? But
don't you want
them? Like because you don't have them, like, why don't you want them? It's the best thing ever. There's no love like a child's love. You're missing out.
Yeah.
And they're my aunties, so I can't like be rude to them, but I would just love to tell them like, yeah, and you missed out on my life.
Right.
Like you feel like I'm missing out on kids. I feel like you missed out on being a full-grown woman that makes her own money and doesn't have to run shit by anyone.
Right.
I have the freedom and the luxury to throw myself into all the things I want 110%. I have the luxury of getting lost. I want to become a better writer. I can become obsessed with that and get lost in that and dedicate out abandonment. There we go. I can throw myself into that with abandon. I can throw myself into this podcast. I can travel. I can throw myself into my relationships, I can do
whatever
everything.
You want. Honestly, whatever you want. And it reminds me of something that you've said in a previous episode about just like when you grow up just knowing one reality and really not experiencing or seeing others. And I think that is a bit true. Maybe changing a little bit more so in Peru, certainly in our hometown in Trujillo, which is where I think you've gotten a lot of this commentary.
Yeah, there's only one way to be there.
And judgment. There's like not a lot of room for people that are choosing other things. There aren't that many people that are getting to choose other things. And it's like both can be very fulfilling, different, extremely different lives. But just because you lived it in your way, it's like there's like this inability to see anything else or like see anything else as a choice, see anything else as a good choice, see anything else as a full life because you only know this. And I mean, I know that's been just so hard. Like I've witnessed it obviously with Mariana. I've witnessed it a little bit with you. You seemed, I was very happy to see Mariana so obviously bothered by this, but obviously also so sure of herself because I can imagine that if you both have been living in places that are very accepting and very like actually people living life in many different ways. And if you've never left maybe Trujillo, you haven't seen that. So I think it must just be harder to feel self-assured in the decision that you've made with your life.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know.
I guess. Yeah.
Like in I wonder if it's like Mariana's like, oh, I've seen LA and like people there are living life in so many different ways. So maybe that gives her also a little bit of like, guys, you're all wrong. Like,
yeah, I think so for sure. Because I think what gives me my self-assuredness is the fact that I've always, because we moved back to Peru when I was like 11, I've been feeling like the odd man out since 11. Because I came back being the weird duck, the one that spoke differently, the one that had very different views from 11. You know, I came back and I was like, I don't believe in religion. All you guys are Catholic. What do we do?
Right.
So I've been feeling since the girl with the weird life choices and the weird ideas since I was 11 years old. So I'm in my 30s. You think differently than me. You disapprove of the way I think. It's not going to like change. It's not going to make me question the way I think. It's just going to make me evaluate, how can we be like really close friends or not? Like, how are we going to navigate this? That's more my reaction. So in terms of like the aunties and stuff, I do want to say that there is another half to my answer, which is always like, and I retain the right to completely change my mind and one day wake up and say I want a child, and then that day, because I do things with abandon, I will 100% have that kid, whether I adopt or I like do IVF or whatever it is. When I wake up one day and I feel like I want a child, I will have that kid. You will see him show up the next day. That is how I operate, that I throw myself into things 100%.
Which also for the aunties is a bit mind-blowing too.
Exactly.
Because you're like, even if you choose that, what they're hinting at, it won't be in the way that they necessarily would have it should have happened in your 20s or whatever.
Oh my gosh. One time because I've been talking about possibly adopting since I was 13. And my mom was like, why would you do that? One of the aunties one time said, but you wouldn't love them the same.
I know. I've heard comments like that, and there's just so many comments of that are so ridiculous that I just But I think you and I kind of have the same response when it's someone so narrow-minded, closed off, who hasn't that is. You're just kind of all right, I'm not even gonna. I don't have the energy or the time.
Yeah,
that is gonna be your opinion, and I am not gonna convince you, and I don't care to convince you. Otherwise,
this spiel,
I don't want to prove you wrong.
This spiel is not for the aunties. The aunties don't get this side of me. For the aunties, whenever someone asks or whenever, don't you want to have kids? My automatic response is always, oh, I will someday. That's it. That's what I always tell them. That's what and then what are they going to do with that?
Right.
Someday they're like, I can't tell her she's old. That they know is rude. They know it's rude to call you old. So they're like, oh, but when? And I'm like, I don't know, but not today. This is literally my answer. So I tell them yes, I want to, so that they're like, oh, okay, she's not crazy. She does want to be a mom. Cool. Yeah. But not today. Oh, okay.
And so much of it, we got into this with Mariana a little bit, but so much of it is they don't know what to do with you, where to put you, where to categorize you. And it's almost like they want that. They want to figure it out. I think a lot of the judgment that Mariana's getting, the stop dreaming, the stop that, is just because well, are you just going to be this? And Mariana's like, yeah, I'm just going to be this.
Yeah, and guess what? I really like it. Oh, I really like this.
I think that so much of it is clearly about what they do and how they act around you because they don't know.
Yeah, I think it makes them confront their own life decisions.
Right.
And think, no, my life is perfect. I did everything right. I don't want to confront the idea that maybe I would have chosen differently had I had the options.
Maybe there's that in there too. Maybe there's that in there too. I wonder if it's also how do I interact with this person that's chosen such a different life from mine?
Yeah.
And
what's funny though?
There's so much into this.
Yeah, because
we could have a whole other episode about.
Okay, but let me say my point, please. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so there's this other thing that I thought about, which is okay, so you're telling me that if I showed up to Trujillo to visit one day with a husband and a child and a baby, you guys would have no questions? It would be great? You guys, all the questions would be oh, how wonderful. Tell us about the marriage. Tell us about the baby. Tell us when it was. And there would be no questions about my well-being?
Yeah, because I think in Peru and especially in our hometown, they know what to do with that, but they don't know what to do with the
which I think is a little sad because it's what if I was miserable, struggling, having the worst time? No one would
yeah. And also, but that's where I'm getting at. Not their problem. They already they don't even. It's almost there might not even be that second layer. It's just at least you're in this box. I think because I can't really understand why there is this so much almost a little obsession of figuring you out and putting you somewhere.
So. I mean, I feel for her. Because I know what it's like, and if you're especially because she can't answer the way I do with that vagueness because she knows she doesn't want kids.
Oh, yeah. I think she's no, I don't want to.
Exactly. So she has it rougher because I at least kind of blur the lines. And I'm yeah, I will. Someday, Auntie, someday,
Yeah, she probably gets a lot of follow-ups.
Exactly. She probably gets all the follow-ups. But yeah. A similar thing that she mentioned that I also related to a lot was when she talked about how people still ask her or still question the fact that she's still acting. because she hasn't like hit it huge. She hasn't been in like, she went to LA. She didn't like get into a blockbuster film or anything, you know, they didn't see her work in like the movies. So people are still questioning, like, why are you still doing this?
Yeah.
Why are you still?
I've been in front of her when people ask these questions, or people have even told me, like, do you know how long Mariana's going to do this for? And it's like, well, I think forever. I think this is what she's going to do.
Yeah.
Like, this is what she's going to do. And I don't think it's like, you know, blockbuster or bust. I don't think that's like, you know, you're not only in corporate world to become a CEO. Like the majority of people do not. You know, you find a job that's fulfilling and the like, I mean,
she's a working actress. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. So
yeah, I found that very relatable because I was a lawyer. Like I studied law. Which sounds so crazy to say right now. Did you remember that? I went to law school. Okay. And right before graduation, like I quit the law firm. I was interning at this law firm. When you graduate, they take you on as a junior associate. And it was very clear to me that I didn't want to be a lawyer. And when I quit, I told my bosses, blah, blah, blah. And then I started telling my friends, like, you know, my law school friends. And not one, not two, 3 different dudes from law school that are really good friends of mine.
Yeah.
Pulled me aside at different times and were like, so if you want, like, I can get you an interview at my firm. Like, they'll totally have you. Like, you have a great GPA. Like, you're totally good. I could vouch for you. And I'm like, no. I didn't just quit my firm. I quit. Like, I don't want to be a lawyer. I'm looking for jobs. I'm looking for jobs in the public sector. I'm looking for yes. Right. And I told them my plan and what I was looking to do next and where my interests lied. And they were like, oh, okay. Well, that offer always stands. Like, if you want to, you know, I can always get you an interview at my law firm. And I was like, okay, these guys aren't getting it. And then a year later, one of those guys, a year later, you certify yourself as a lawyer. You have to take a test, or you have
bar,
to do the equivalent of the Peruvian bar.
Yeah.
To certify yourself as a lawyer. A year and a half later, I was doing great. I was working as a journalist. I was thriving. I was really happy. One of these guy friends, once again, pulls me aside and he's like, so are you going to get certified? And I was like, no, I'm not. It's like,
right. I have no desire to practice law anymore.
Like, but if you want to ever practice as a lawyer, like you should get certified just in case. Like just in case. And I was like, okay, it's like, this is going to keep happening. It happened a couple more times after that of people asking, like, if I would ever work in law. And I'm like, dudes, no.
Right.
So I related to the frustrations of people being like, what are you doing with your life?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it comes from a good place. It comes from all of these people were genuinely like worried about me. And
with law school, it's like, you know, you put in so much time and hours and it's expensive and all of that. So like people are like, what? You just did this and you're not going to be, you know, I've seen that reaction from other people that have lawyer friends that I know that like didn't want to be. And it is like, yeah, they're just like, but we just did this whole thing and we're on this trajectory. And it's like, nope, you're on this trajectory now.
Yeah.
I chose another path. There are other paths.
And it especially would frustrate me because I was like, I'm employed. I was making a little bit more money than some of my lawyer friends. And I was like, why are you guys still asking me?
Right.
Like, I make good money. I've never been unemployed. Like, it's not like, oh, she quit law school and then she never got a job. Like, I was always booked and busy. I always had a paycheck.
Right.
A year and a half in, I was making more money than some of them even.
Right.
And I was like, where's the concern really coming from? Because I'm good, guys.
Yeah. People.
I know. I feel like I came with a real attitude to complain about shit, and I've been complaining about shit.
You've delivered.
I feel like that's what I'm using. I'm using this podcast to like bitch and rant. Give me another topic.
That wraps it up for today. You can support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Ciao, ciao.
Hasta la vista, babies. At Where We Land, we know that some immigrant experiences are harder than others, especially for those at the margins of our current legal system. So if you would like to help, we encourage you to support organizations that provide services for immigrants and champion their rights. You can find a list of organizations in the show notes.